$5,000. Seriously, $5,000. Hey everybody, welcome to Post to Post. Welcome to the channel. My name is Neil. Thanks for joining me today. If you're new, consider hitting the subscribe button because we're going to be talking all kinds of hockey, all kinds of actual NHL hockey in the coming weeks. We got the playoffs coming up, so we're going to take a little bit of a break from jersey concepts. I'm still going to do them. I'm still going to do them. Still going to do the logo rankings, but we're going to talk some serious hockey for these next couple of months because it's playoff time. And wow, we had a doozy last night, did we not? Washington and the Rangers, they get into her. Okay, they get into her good. And there was an incident, if I could say that, if you want to call it an incident, and there's been a fine of $5,000 towards Tom Wilson for what he did against Buchnevich. So let's try and go about this in a non-heated way. Let's look at this logically. Let's look at this objectively and break down the play as best we possibly can. I want to put to bed some of the arguments that I see online, a lot of the criticism, and a lot of the hate for some specific things that didn't actually happen, which is weird. I don't know where all these theories came from, or I don't know what play or what video that some people watched, but it wasn't what I watched, and I watched it in slow motion in multiple angles, so I don't know what people are seeing, but it ain't what I'm seeing, and it's very clear. So I've broken it down to a couple of points. I actually have them taped just below my camera here, so if you see me looking down, I apologize, but my notes are there, then there's a lot of notes, and I can't remember them all. So let's start off and break this down by 6 different sections of what happened during the play. Number 1, Buchnevich kicked the goalie. That's the first argument that I heard. This started the whole thing. He kicked the goalie. This never would have happened if Buchnevich never kicked the goalie. Man, what are you talking about? He never kicked the goalie. The puck was there, and he kind of went to go move it with his skate or kick it in for whatever reason that wouldn't have counted. He didn't kick the goalie, and if he did kick the goalie, it's a pretty weak kick. I wouldn't even consider it a kick. It was more like a nudge. Now I will preface this whole video by saying I am not a Washington Capitals fan. I am not a Rangers fan. I like the Rangers more than the Capitals, but I'm not emotionally invested in either of these teams right now. So my opinion here is completely objective. I'm not swayed in any which direction. So I don't understand the whole kicking thing. So Washington fans, you need to drop that, okay? There was no kick. No one kicked your goalie. Like, calm down. Number 2, Tom Wilson cross-checked Buchnevich in the head to the ground. No, he didn't, actually. I don't know why so many people are talking about that and saying that he did. He didn't. He definitely didn't. It's in the replay. I will put a little screenshot up here. Tom Wilson's stick was underneath Buchnevich's neck and his head, and as Buchnevich fell, it dragged Tom Wilson down. Now, Tom Wilson could have dropped the stick or let go, but he didn't. He fell down on top of him, but he didn't cross-check him. His stick was underneath of him, and he was being hauled down. So I'm not trying to defend Tom Wilson, but I'm sure as heck not going to get on him for something that didn't actually happen, and that didn't actually happen. He didn't cross-check him in the back of the head. He was brought down. So let's remove that off the table as well. Number 3, I've got Tom Wilson punched Buchnevich in the back of the head. No, he didn't punch him in the back of the head, but he did punch him, and he punched him in the side of the head, which I think is probably more dangerous. Buchnevich's head was literally sideways on the ice like this, and he punched down right at the temple. And the temple is pretty much the most dangerous and sensitive part of the entire head. So that is not smart on Tom Wilson's part, and I believe that's where the fine came from. And I think just putting it out there, I think that's ridiculous. I think it's absolutely a joke, and I'll talk a little bit more about why that's a joke later in the video. But yes, he did punch Buchnevich in the head, but he didn't punch him in the back of the head, just for clarification. Number 4, Tom Wilson pulled Panarin's hair. I don't know for sure, but it sure did kind of look like he did. I don't want to say that he did because I can't tell. I watched the replay probably 20 times, and I couldn't tell, but it did kind of look like he did. So if you haven't seen the play, I can't show it, so go watch it and come back if you haven't seen it. But if you're this far in the video, you've probably already seen it. Next, Tom Wilson slams Panarin to the ice. Yes, he did, sort of. I don't know if he intentionally tried to push Panarin's, his head all the way down to the ice. I think it was a combination of him trying to knock him over, but also them kind of losing their balance as well. So I don't. It looked way worse, and it was way worse than I think Tom Wilson wanted it to be. Now, he's like a bull in the china shop. He can't control his anger. He's got this little switch in his head that once it's switched, he can't turn it off, and that's his problem. and I don't condone his actions at all, but I don't know if it was 100% intentional to slam Panarin to the ice like he did. I'm sure he meant to do it a little bit, but not that aggressively. It was an incredibly dangerous play. I think it was so irresponsible and immature and ridiculous that he did that. It was just completely unneeded, even if Panarin did have his helmet on, and he didn't, and just that could have ended his career right there. So just a stupid play by Tom Wilson. And number 6 I have here, Tom Wilson punches Panarin in the head on the ice. Yeah, he did. And it was stupid. It was absolutely stupid. Not only was Panarin on the ice and basically defenseless, he didn't have his helmet on, and then you're going to throw a punch at him? Just stupid, right? But Tom Wilson did something extremely smart, and I can't even believe that those words are coming out of my mouth, but he kept his gloves on through the entire thing. He never took his gloves off. Any punch that he threw did have the gloves on. Now, that doesn't mean that it's okay. It definitely doesn't, but it's a little less harmful with the gloves on versus the gloves off. So I have a feeling that the ruling today of the $5,000 fine was because of partially that. If he had taken the gloves off, I suspect maybe he would have got a game or two at least. So he did punch Panarin down on the ice, and it was stupid. Panarin was defenseless, and it was stupid, guys. There's no other way to put it. So let's look at Tom Wilson's history. Now, he's a repeat offender. I'll just put that out there. He hit, I think it was Carlo a couple of months ago, and that was a stupid play as well. So he's a repeat offender, and he only gets $5,000 fine, which is the maximum, by the way. Stupid. So his entire history, and since Tom Wilson started playing hockey, which really hasn't been that long, I think he's only 27 or 28, he has been suspended for a total of 30 games in the NHL. And if you look at the money that he's forfeited or have been fined, so basically he's lost this amount of money, $1,296,456. Tom Wilson has lost more money in fines and loss of wages than I will ever make in my entire life as an adult working as just a regular person. He has lost that because of his stupidity and his irresponsible nature. Crazy. So I just want to touch on a couple of other things that relate to this in a way. I don't know the year, so I don't want to say it, but we'll say 7-8 years ago, something like that. Thornton threw a similar punch to Orpik, and it's a little different. Now, Thornton came in and he slew-footed Orpik, brought him to the ice, and then hit him a couple of times. They weren't hard punches, but still. Anyways, similar play in a way, similar punches, I guess you could say. He got 15 games. He got 15 games, guys, 15 games. Now, guess what else resulted in a $5,000 fine? Think about what this is crazy. Think about what Tom Wilson just did, okay? That he only got a $5,000 fine. Well, guess what else did? Henrik Lundqvist. And you might be thinking, okay, what are you talking about? What do you mean Henrik Lundqvist got a fine for $5,000? I don't remember this. When did Henrik Lundqvist get fined $5,000? Well, he did a couple of years ago in the playoffs because he squirted Crosby with water. Yeah, he got a $5,000 fine because he squirted Crosby with water. And Tom Wilson does this and gets the same punishment? Are you kidding me, NHLPA? Or NHL Department of Player Safety, rather? Like, this is nuts. Guys, what are you doing? George Parros, what are you doing with your life? Like, how could you consciously put out this ruling and only give $5,000 based on his history, based on previous suspensions and fines from other players in the past, based on his recent play in the NHL, hitting Carlo, and just I'm getting frustrated, and I'm not supposed to be because I'm not emotionally invested in this, but I'm emotionally invested in the accuracy and the consistency of the Department of Player Safety, and there is none. It sucks. The thing that ruined it for me the most, the thing that really frustrated me is that he had no remorse. Did you see him in the penalty box afterwards with his jersey off, and he was flexing like a big tough guy because he took Panarin down and punched someone in the back of the head who couldn't defend themselves? Yeah, you're real tough, Tom Wilson. You're real tough. It's just really frustrating. I have no use for the guy. I don't think it's as bad as what people are saying. Like I said, his stick was underneath the neck. He got drugged down. I don't think he intentionally tried to bring Panarin down as bad as he did. But he definitely deserves way more than a $5,000 fine. Throw the book at him. Make it an example. John Scott came out with a video on Twitter talking about what this means for the rest of the league. And he made a really good point because he said, if I'm in the NHL and I'm in a scrum I'm doing whatever I can. I'm twisting ankles. I'm throwing punches because I know I'm only going to get a $5,000 fine out of it. So I'm going for it, right? I'm going to be that guy because there's not really any punishment. George Peros and the Department of Player Safety has set a bad precedent. They have really made the NHL as a whole, not just the Department of Player Safety, the NHL look so bad. I've seen other news agencies from outside the NHL who usually talk about football and basketball and baseball and never touch on hockey cover the story today about how bad this was. It is widespread. It makes the NHL look bad. It makes Tom Wilson look real bad. Makes George Peros look bad. The Department of Player Safety, and it is such an easy fix. Like I just don't get it, and I don't understand how Washington Capitals fans can continue to defend this guy who has such a lengthy rap history of just ridiculous plays and irresponsible moves and dangerous stuff. How can you defend him? And you could say, well, if you were a GM, you'd want him on your team. Well, yeah, I'm not saying that I wouldn't, but it doesn't condone his actions. Okay, there needs to be accountability for actions, and $5,000 is not accountability. That is nothing. That is laughable. It is laughable. It is ridiculous, and it has no place. It has no place in the Department of Player Safety. If they took it seriously, and clearly they don't. Clearly they don't take it seriously, and that's the big problem. That's what really this comes down to. I'm over it with Tom Wilson because I kind of expect it from him. Like, I can't even really be angering at him at this point because that's just who he is. He's an irresponsible and dangerous hockey player, but that's what I expect from him. I'm not shocked. I'm angry at the Department of Player Safety. I'm not even angry at Tom Wilson. He's an idiot. I'm angry at the Department of Player Safety. And this is, I think, the third video that I've made about the Department of Player Safety this season. Not just since I've started on YouTube 4 years ago. It's probably like 10 plus. This season. Third video this season. And I'm tired of it. I just don't understand it. So Gary Bettman, just a second. Gary Bettman, no, don't smile at me. Get that grin off your face, Gary. Gary, stop it. Don't look at me. Gary Bettman, stop it. Stop smiling. This isn't funny. This is serious. Okay. So Gary Bettman, if you're listening, and I know you're not, but if you are, you need to do something about this because this is absolutely ridiculous. Please, for the sake of the players in the NHL, for the sake of the fans, and for the sake of the entire league, please get some consistency with the Department of Player Safety. It will benefit literally everybody, okay? Thanks for watching, guys. I appreciate you. If you want to see more hockey talk like this, hit the subscribe button below. Thumbs up for Gary. Hit the thumbs up button for Gary, even though he doesn't really look good here. He's not fixing the situation, but maybe he will in the offseason. Who knows? But with a face like that, how do you not like this video? All right, guys. I'll catch you later.